You ever have those days, Paul? I think we're both having one today where that next rep is so hard. And for us, if we're going to be completely honest, it's Friday morning. No, it's Thursday morning, recording for next Friday. And both Paul and I have had a very long week, and we are tired. So not to complain, but that's what we're going to talk about today. What do you do? We have absolutely no script in front of us. We don't ever script it, but we do have an outline. There's no guardrails right now. So, dude, where are you at right now? Mentally, physically? You go back to work next week. I know, start back on Monday. I feel like I'm burning the candle at both ends sometimes, and right now, I'm just tired. So I'm not going to quit, but where am I going to dig deep to get that next rep out of? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny because, like you said, we don't have a script for this one. We don't have a theme for this one. And not that we ever had the full script, but we at least have a topic that we want to talk about. And you and I
Yep.
sat here for 15 minutes saying, "What do you feel like talking about?" And we went
Yeah.
through 4 or 5 different examples, and then we're like, all right, let's just talk about not knowing what to talk about. And it's funny because if we start talking, we'll be fine. But sometimes to get us to that point, it's like, all right, what the heck are we going to talk about? But I thought of it's been going around social media quite a bit, the difference between husbands and wives. And if a wife asks their husband, what are you thinking? And the husband says nothing, know that they really mean nothing. And I think you and I just sat here thinking nothing for the last 15 minutes while we try to figure this out.
Literally. Like we've struggled because we don't want to put out
Right.
crap. We're not doing this just to create content. We want to have something of value. And so we actually had 3 or 4 ideas. We talked about them. We're like, that doesn't feel right. So here we go. It's probably not going to be super long, but maybe it is. We don't
Mm-hmm.
know. We're just going to talk about how hard it is sometimes to stay on the horse, to keep going, to keep driving through, to get in that next rep. And I would agree, Paul. It's tough sometimes. Right now it's tough, but that's okay.
I've never been I can write pretty well, but I've never been like a writer per se. But I think of writer's block when you always hear people talk about like if they're writing a book or writing something. There's gonna be days where you sit there and the page is blank and you just don't know what to
Yeah.
do, and everyone's like, you just got to get something on paper. You just got to get yourself out there. So it's I think for us this is that moment where it's like, all right, dude, the page is
Yeah.
blank. How do we go from here? And I think of, like you said, that next step. How do you take that next step, whether that be personal goals, fitness goals, whatever it is, when you don't feel like doing the work that you need to do? How do you get yourself through that? And I just think that there's days where you have to have that discipline just to do it. It may not feel good. It may not feel like you're super motivated, because when we started this at 5 a.m., I was not feeling motivated. We got one episode done. We're on our second one now. And it's the discipline
Yeah.
and to show up for yourself and to show up for like each other in this moment, because we said we would, even when we don't feel like it.
We're just going to be completely honest today. What you said there is, what do you do when you really, really don't want to? I think for me, Paul, that's when I have to do it. If I don't want to work out. And I have those days that I really just don't want to work out. And there are days that I actually don't, which is always not a good thing for me. It's when I still do it, those are the days that make the biggest impact. You do it when it's hard. You do the workout when it's hard. You eat right when it's hard, when it's not convenient, because that's what really makes us.
You know what you have to do. You're not always going to feel like it. You can acknowledge that, you can understand that, and you can rationalize with yourself and say, I don't feel like doing this, but I'm not going to listen to my feelings. I'm not going to obey the feeling that I have. And we almost talked about faith over feelings, because feelings can
Hmm.
drive so much of our life, but they don't
Oh,
have to. You don't always have to feel the greatest going through something that you know you're supposed to, like workouts. There's times where I don't feel like working out.
Brotherhood Forged isn't for every man. It's for the ones ready to do the work. If you've been listening and you feel that tug, well, it's time. Inside, you'll find structure, accountability, and a brotherhood that won't let you quit. Are you ready to step in? Hit the link in the show notes and find out.
But I know
Yeah.
what's going to happen if I do it. So having that faith to stay committed to things, especially even like scriptural stuff, like the days you don't feel like reading your Bible, do what you know you're supposed to do. Do as you know you deep down want to do when you don't feel like it, because too often than not, you can have a big picture goal and you can say, I'm going to do all these things for the next 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it is. There's going to be so many days in between where you don't feel like doing it. But if you zoom out and you ask yourself, do I want this one time to define me, or do I want to define it? Because you can say, I don't feel like doing it this today. I'll do it tomorrow. We all know what that leads to. That leads to, no, nigga, not tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day. Then a week later, you're like, how did I fall off so far? Because you allowed that one day of your feelings to determine the outcome.
My take on our just brief conversation there is do it when you don't want to. Do it when it's hard. And you're going to thank yourself tomorrow. That's really it. I think that's just the nuts and bolts.
Yeah. I mean, so many different times, man, we talked to different things. The example that comes to mind for me, I talked about this way, way back when we first started this. Kobe Bryant, when he made like one of the most demanding summer workouts for himself, he signed a contract with himself because he knew that there would be days where he didn't feel like doing it. But he already promised himself in the beginning that he was going to, because he knew the outcome that would come. So if you're in a situation right now, if you're battling something right now where you know there's something that you really, I say want to loosely because maybe you set that goal a couple weeks ago. If there's something you're really pushing for, if there's something that is really heavy on your mind for a goal or a personal connection, whatever that is, and there's a day where you don't feel like giving into that relationship, if you don't feel like showing up for that person, if you don't feel like sending that text message, if you don't feel like working out, remind yourself of why you're doing it and remind yourself of why you started. And then ask yourself, at the end of this journey, this goal, what do I want to be? How do I want myself to show up? What type of person do I want to be? And then try to loop it back through that, because that can help you get over those feelings of not wanting to do it. If you think big picture, it's so easy to think today, this hour, this 15-minute conversation, I don't feel like doing it. But I know at the end of this, you and I want to get better at helping people. You and I want to get better at speaking publicly. There's different things that we want to do this for. And this is just another test of like, okay, how am I going to show up when everything's not aligned perfectly?
And that's real life, because most of the time things aren't going to show up perfectly. So my suggestion would be set your standards. What do you live by? What do you have to get done? I call them non-negotiables. Some people call them standards. Some people call them have-tos, whatever works for you. And when those are important to you, you're going to get them done, whether you feel like it, as Paul said, or you don't feel like it. But the important thing is being honest to yourself, staying true to yourself, because for me, if I don't do the things that I promise myself I'm going to do, I lose confidence in myself. I don't feel good. I don't feel good about myself. And that's not good for anyone around you either. And remember also, you're setting an example for your kids. So do what you say you're going to do, even if it's just to yourself, even if you've shared it with no one else, you're going to thank yourself. That's all I got on this one, bud.
That's huge, man. So if you got something right now that you're in the middle of, that you said that you started something for a reason, and now you're in the middle of that messy change, that messy goal, remind yourself why you started and bring that back to life. Step back into it, whether you feel like it or don't, because like Joey said you would. People are watching. Maybe it's not your kids. Maybe it's just you. Maybe you're just watching how you're going to show up for yourself in this moment. But you're going to give yourself evidence of how you get through hard things. And, I mean, we just got through this episode. We didn't even know what we were going to talk about, so.
No idea. That's good. Finish the race even if you have blisters on your feet.
Ooh, that's good.
That just came to me. I don't know. Maybe someone else said it, but I was just thinking of marathons. Finish it, even when it hurts. That's all I got. Be blessed,
See you
y'all.
guys.